It's an absolutely done deal.
Okay,
Everything's
so
done.
he cannot run after me anymore because I already
Yes,
paid
I'm
him.
drinking it. It ain't my first one.
Okay.
And we speak English. Yes.
And then he can do whatever he wants to do with my note because I already gave it to him. Is that what it is?
Sure. If you sell me your car and I give you a boatload of money, can I come and tell you what to spend your money on?
No.
Because it's your money now, right? Then don't tell me what to do with your car.
So with that concept, the bank cannot foreclose on me anymore.
No, there is no legal foreclosures in the United States. Hasn't been for 30 plus years. Not one. Not one. Understand, there is no such thing as a lawful foreclosure in the United States of America. Not
So-
one.
So why are they doing it?
They're ripping you off. This is America. That's what we do.
So how do we fight them back?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
How do we fight them back?
I think we had a seminar on that today.
No. Actually, yeah, we did. But it's actually because I am in a position right now where I have my auction date being pushed every now and then. And as I have explained to Bill earlier, my case was dismissed. And right now, there's nothing really holding on my property being
Was it
auctioned.
dismissed with or without prejudice?
Without prejudice and no amendments.
Okay, without prejudice means you can file another suit. Even if it was with prejudice, you could file a suit for fraud. Here's all that happened. You tried to sue them on the wrong pretext. You didn't tell them that you questioned the authenticity and validation of all signatures, so all the signatures were considered valid, even the fraudulent stuff on the notary stuff. You didn't tell them somehow in some way that the presumptions the court was making were wrong and incorrect, so all those presumptions stand. Of course you lost. Of course everybody loses. That's the law. Remember, you're going into a place, the court, that allows the bank to use their money to sell your property. You're going into a place, the court, that issued a law that said the bank's always right unless you prove them wrong. The deck's stacked against you. So you must unstack the deck. There again, you must reverse the onus probandi. How do you do that? You do that by realizing mentally that the deal that they're talking about does not exist. When you approach it with the concept, show me the loan, I've been paying you on a loan. Okay, if you let them come after you, then you've got a defense. What's the best defense? A good offense. If you go after them and say, hey, I've been paying on this loan for a long time, show me the loan. Give me my loan. It's a whole different ball game. Okay, we have not been doing that. We need to start doing it. Well, we actually have started doing it. You guys need to start doing it. Once you start doing that, the court doesn't have any direction to go. Okay, it's not about the foreclosure. So where's the presumption? There is none. There is none. The presumption is reliant upon the concept of the foreclosure, judicial or non-judicially. But you're going after them to get your loan, specific performance. You've invalidated the presumption. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Yes, it is very simple. Okay.
Okay. Can I ask one more question, John?
Okay.
Okay, I know it's not been covered earlier, but
It's what?
When we haven't
Go ahead
touched
and
on
put
this
that up to your
question,
mouth.
can we rescind the notice of default?
I did not understand any aspect of that question.
Can we rescind the notice of default?
Rescind a notice of default? No, because the notice of default, rescission requires some kind of, okay, there's a lot of side talk going on, and that's a real issue. Okay, recension. You have to be party to a deal for recension. In a notice of default, you're really not a party to that notice. You're just being informed of it. You can't really rescind any kind of a notice that somebody else is doing towards you. That's really not what a notice is. Rescission is relying on some aspect of that contract that you're involved in, and you're not really involved in the notice. They're notifying you. Rescission by design is really contractual in nature. It's an authority of a contract, or in a contract, I should say. So no, you couldn't. You're welcome. Oh yeah, the whole Cindy's whole case is on there. I'm telling you, if you read through that latest, newest complaint, that pretty much lines it out. Larry printed that out and he was reading it. You read that and learn that. Read it until you know everything in there and understand it. And you will understand this stuff. Yeah, Marty.
Who's really in default? Because when they put you in default and file the notice with the county, they are actually in default. You're not in default. Maybe you could explain that.
Yeah, they're absolutely. That's why I'm saying you go after them. They're the ones in default. They have never specifically performed. You paid for your loan. You've been paying every month. They didn't give you the loan. You're not in default. See, if you believe you're in default and you go into court acting like you're in default but you want a free house, sorry, you don't have clean hands. But if you conduct yourself from the very beginning that currently the bank is in default, you're assisting them to get out of default by allowing you, or by them giving you the loan, then you have clean hands and they don't, and the way that they wash their hands is by giving you the loan. They could refund the money. There's some issues with that, especially in a state where there's treble and all that. And I don't think it would behoove them to do that anyways. When you start looking at the math, them giving you the money, it really doesn't make sense. I think you'll get to the point where they're going to ask for a walk and give you a walk. I don't know that it'll ever get to the point where you'll get the loan, but that's going to be a negotiation to get everybody to walk away from the table. In other words, you would just wind up with your house, everything be done, and that's it. Yeah, absolutely. Even if you didn't, you'd have your house indefinitely, and it would be open and hostile, so you could eventually claim squatters' rights, depending on what your state rules on squatters' rights are. Because it is open and hostile. You know, it's like a typical marriage. Everybody knows you're married and pissed off at each other, so nobody's hiding anything. So eventually, that by law is accepted. Okay. Eventually. Absolutely. By law, absolutely. But it would take time, and those are going to be different in every state. I don't even know anymore what the squatters' rights are in Arizona. This stuff changes. It's changed quite a bit over the years. Is it? California is much more liberal than Arizona. I don't think it's 5 years here. It's either 7 or 10 here. But it would go back to where the issues arose. Any other questions? Yes.
You were going to talk about how you position yourself, who you are, some such thing.
Okay. If we are done talking about the mortgage stuff, and guys, I'm about toast. I say I'll do that. We'll get the room, get everything put away, and go hit the bar, take a break, and go dancing. That's my plan. And that's the best plan I'm going to come up with. So, okay. What's that? Yeah. Yeah. It's like when I actually worked for a company, I told them they kept on interfering with my personal life, and I didn't appreciate it. They didn't appreciate that comment. There's a handful of people that understand what I'm going to explain to you. You will not understand it. You will think you understand it. You won't understand it. But it'll sit there and rot and corrupt inside your brain, and eventually you will understand it. Everything that we do, society of man, if you will, the rule of man as opposed to the rule of law, is incumbent on one very evil concept. It's very destructive. It terminates all rights, all intellect, and all sanity in all situations. No, this is fine. It is discovering this because a group of people contacted me over some things, and we went over this, and blah, blah, blah. Is why I've pretty much been blacklisted by all the so-called patriot gurus and all that, and why I have a different way of looking at things, and why I've come up with the stuff that I've come up with. We've all had to deal with different entities in our life. Government entities, what are called, if you want to check out something, I did a short treatise for Freedom's Phoenix on letters of marque and reprisal, what we call LOMARs. LOMAR is in the Article 1, Section 8, Paragraph 11 of the U.S. Constitution. It invalidates the whole U.S. Constitution. A letter of marque and reprisal is issued by a government to turn corporations into pirates, legal pirates called privateers. When you deal with what you think is a government agency, but there really aren't any. There's the only two government agencies left in the United States: U.S. Patent Office, United States Post Office. Not the Postal Service, the U.S. Post Office. The Post Office was created and started by a man named Benjamin Franklin. You've probably heard of him. The Patent Office was created by a man named Thomas Jefferson. You've probably heard of him too. We know that these are actual government agencies. Can you guess how we know that these are government agencies? The only two government agencies left in the United States. Do you know? Oh, stop it. No. And federal doesn't mean it's part of the government. Ask any Federal Express driver. I have a lot of patents. I'm actually a national award-winning inventor, blah, blah, blah. Patents are incredible legal documents, and I've taught patent law. They're very long, they're very intense. They'll ask you for all kinds of descriptions of who you are. You know what they'll never ask you for? Thank you, Jay. I think I told you that. They're a government agency. They can't ask you for a social security number. A badge, a little piece of metal that people wear, is in lieu of a letter of marque and reprisal. That's it. A letter of marque and reprisal, look it up in the dictionary. Read Napoleon Bonaparte's concept of letters of marque and reprisal. What? Letter of marque, M-A-R-Q-U-E. It's a French word, actually. And reprisal. A badge is in lieu of carrying the marque and reprisal document number. That's why a badge has to have a number on it. That's why there's a badge number. That must correspond to the document ordering the person that's been issued that badge to rape, murder, plunder, and steal and share half the booty with the government that issued that letter of marque and reprisal.